Well, hello and welcome to another edition of Something to Talk About. I'm flying solo momentarily right now because Vaughn is somewhere out on the social internet highway, stuck in traffic, and will join us momentarily. But it's great to have you with us again, as it is every Wednesday at 11 o'clock. Glad you're with us. We're going to be talking about sending those kiddies back to college, especially, and what the dormitory situation is all about. Little bit different today than what it was back in my day, and Vaughn and I are going to be talking a little bit about that. But we are really very, very happy to be brought to you by Christine Dean, who is the DFW Networking Diva. Christine can help you manage your website, improve your website, expand your website, anything having to do with your website, with networking, with marketing, with sales. And the beauty of it is you can go onto her website, dfwnetworkingdiva.com, and you can register for a free consultation. She can take a look at your website and say, you know what, everything looks great. Or I might suggest this and this and this, and we can take care of it and improve your business. So, hey, how can you go wrong? Free is free. So we'll be happy to network with Christine Dean, dfwnetworkingdiva.com. So, as I say, we are going to be talking this morning. Oh, there she is.
Not my fault this morning.
No,
my fault.
It wasn't my fault either. We got a little bit of
His
glitch.
fault. His fault.
Yeah, there it is. It's him. It's him. It's all him. All him. Demerits to the producer.
Well, Mark, I have to say it's very often my user error, and I was like, I know I'm going into the right link. I know I.
Yeah, I pushed it. It kept coming up with this message 404.
Yeah, I got that.
What?
In my defense, DERN and DEM looks exactly the same.
That's right. And it came up and it went DEM, and I'm saying, wait a minute, I'm clicking on the right button there, and it's not letting me in.
Hey, Mark, how about last week? Oh, it said APL or what?
Yeah. What?
I don't know what to tell you.
All I said to Mark in response to that was, "Really, Mark?"
That's right.
Really? Really.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well at least we're all here. We're all here.
Everybody's in school.
As is the cat.
Oh, there's the cat.
Cat.
The cat is watching and said, "Okay, go ahead. You can go on with the show now."
Well, Stuart, we need to do a show on why is it when you turn on a computer, cats come to you. Like, what is it about the computer? She was literally in another part of the house. I turned on my computer and she came to sit by me.
It must be me. Maybe she came to see me
Or
Mark.
Did you do a cat? Did you do a cat call?
Meow. Meow.
Oh my God.
Oh, she just left the room, Mark.
only when you spoke.
Yeah. All right.
When Mark and Ty Foley come into the room, people listen.
Yeah.
To what?
What is that commercial? When people talk, they listen. What was that?
Yeah, that's Mark Warner. That's me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it was a product, and I don't remember the product. We listen. Wasn't it one of the financial institutions?
Something like that.
Yeah. Huh.
Well,
bless your heart.
Well, we hope that when we talk, the folks that are joining us are listening.
Yes.
And as I alluded when Vaughn was trying to get the correct link to join into the show, and we're going to talk about dorm life.
Yes, we are.
It's interesting because you're getting ready to send your sophomore now.
Yes. So I'm officially done with dorm life, by the way. But I've let's see, let me count. 1, 2, 3. Even though I have 3 kids, I've done 4 dorms because one of my kids went to one school and then another school transfer, long story. But so I actually did 2 dorms that year. So I've done 4 dorms. Yeah. Wow. But I'm done with dorms. Now I'm just doing apartments and houses.
Oh, well, then that's an upgrade then.
Well, yes, it is an upgrade in many ways. It's an upgrade in buying and decorating. It's an upgrade in physical exhaustion from moving them. It's, but what's good about it is it's a little bit more permanent. Like, you go into an apartment, you're not going to move in just a semester. You're going to stay there for, an apartment at least a couple of years, I would hope. And so whatever. And then, but dorm is what we're going to talk about, because that's what's gotten crazy.
And I just started to look at preparing for a college dorm. I always, because of my age, I throw back to a long time ago where when you went into a dorm, you walk in the door and there is, if you're lucky, 2 closets, one for each, and it was usually 2 person per dormitory room.
Yeah.
There would be 2 beds, 2 desks, 2 lamps, 2 closets. Maybe you were lucky and there were 2 hangers in the closet. That was it. Nothing on the windows, and that was your room. When I went to school, usually we would go down to the Army Navy surplus store and we would buy one of those big Army duffel bags.
Yeah.
And you put all your clothes into the duffel bag and then maybe you had a trunk that you took in order to put your shoes and stuff in. That was about it.
Yes.
And then your friend would come by in his great big old Buick and he'd open up the trunk. You'd put in your trunk and your stuff, and the 2 of you would take off and go to college, and mom and dad would be on the front step going, bye, don't forget to write and call, let us know how everything is. Now you got to rent a U-Haul in order to get all the stuff that you're going to take down just initially to move in, because then once you move into your dorm room, then it gets crazy and you got to start adding stuff to the room.
Yeah.
I even remember there was nothing on the walls, and I don't know about today's dorm rooms and all, but our dormitories were cinder block, so you couldn't put nails into the wall to hang anything.
Right.
Because you would need a concrete drill in order to make a hole, and then you'd be responsible for fixing it up.
Yes.
And so you had to find the right kind of a tape to put up on the wall if you really wanted to put anything up. So what we used to do is put up posters. In my day, it was Farrah Fawcett.
Of course, in the red one piece.
Yeah. And so that was the start of setting up your dorm. Now it is amazing what people are spending to fix up a dorm room. And
it's funny you're talking about the then first versus the now, and the then, obviously, in your when you were in college, and then even it changed a little bit when I was in college. But the thing of it is while the decor and the needs of a dorm room have changed over the years, what hasn't changed in many cases are the actual buildings, the actual structures, the rooms.
Right.
So, some colleges, I find that more small colleges have bigger dorm rooms versus the larger colleges seem to have the smaller dorm rooms. So the size of the rooms haven't changed so much, but what they've had to do over the years, obviously, is evolve with technology. And so, back maybe when you and even I were in dorms, we had a landline, little plug for our phones. So you see a lot of those things, being removed or boarded over or whatever, so that the new lifestyle of the now generation going into dorms, it's more accommodating to everything, the technology and all that, but also the fact that I think that generationally we've become more of everything, more stuff. You know, it's not a simple life anymore. Like when you and I were in our dorms, like you said, maybe a couple hangers, 2 beds, maybe 1 dresser drawer for each, 2 desks, beds, I should say, whatever. Like, and now that's just not big enough space to accommodate all the stuff that each generation has continued to accumulate. I mean, these kids go to school with all of their things. I mean, their fall things, their summer things, their, you know, well, depending on where you live. Here in Texas, since our weather is all up and down and all over the place, you have to go with every season of, you know, clothing that you own.
What?
But yeah, I just think that also right now space is such an issue, because I've seen so many kids go off to school with so much stuff. I'm just talking just their belongings. So the beds have changed to where, you know, the beds are now you're able to lift them to varying heights. If you want to lift it to a bunk height, you can, and then you could put even your desk underneath it to give you more space in the rest of the room, or you could put a dresser drawer underneath it or whatever, some storage units.
Right.
Or you can lift it medium height or wherever you want to lift it. But like, that's the kind of change I'm seeing when I compare then and now, is just restructuring the rooms and re-outfitting the rooms or updating the rooms to accommodate just the belongings of the kids. And I'm speaking mainly about female, you know, students. Doesn't seem to be so much of a deal with the male students coming in, is what
You're right. I remember having a 3-drawer dresser. You know, you put your colognes and stuff on the top of the dresser, and you put your underwear and stuff that in the dresser drawers. But a lot of stuff like your extra slacks, especially any dress slacks or dress shirts or something that you would have maybe to go to a party or something on the weekend, you left that in your what did I say? It was called the trunk. Yeah. Yeah. And you would just leave it in the trunk, any of the stuff that you weren't going to wear on a regular basis, because you knew that you were going to put your blue jeans and your t-shirts and maybe a couple of golf shirts in your closet, because the closets were not all that generous in those days. Today, it seems when you go in, the first thing, a kid doesn't even care how big his dresser is. He doesn't care about how big the trunk is or where he's going to put it. All he wants to know is, do I have a good Wi-Fi connection? And where am I going to put my computer? But I mean, back then and today, a lot of students still use their dormitory room to study because hopefully it's a little bit quieter. In my day, we could study in our rooms if we wanted to, or you'd go down to the dorm. The dorm would have a large lobby area or library type area where you could study, or you physically went down on campus and went to a library in order to study. Today, I guess some of that is still the same, but you know. Now you people have a tendency, but you know, you got the earbuds that you can put in your ears so you can tune everything else out. Now, when my son went to college, he was in a dorm that had, and I think that this was kind of typical when he got out of the 80s and into the 90s, they had what was called pod living. And the dorm was set up so you would have 4 people in a dorm room, but each one had their own little bedroom with their bed and their desk and a little dresser. And you all shared a common living room, if you will, and a common small kitchen, and then a common bathroom that usually had a shower stall with two shower heads.
Yes.
So, you know, and I don't know whether that was a design because it meant having less plumbing in the units where people would share space, but it worked out for him, and it was really kind of a neat thing, because instead of everybody having to have a TV in their room, the TV was in that kind of
main
common little living area. So if you wanted peace and quiet to study, you went to your room to do it.
Well, and my Emily had the same kind of layout. She had more of an apartment style kind of apartment or dorm, where they had 4 separate bedrooms, 4 individual bedrooms, small, but
Yep.
big enough to have a desk and a bed in there and a closet and whatnot, and some storage space. But then they shared 2 bathrooms between the 4 of them. And then they had kind of this galley kitchen, very small, but big enough for a refrigerator, microwave,
Right.
little stovetop. And then they had a common area as well. That's a very comfortable, kind of, dorm, but it's not the traditional, dorm experience. And I think some people, when they go off to college, students and parents, you have to kind of talk about what kind of experience do you want? Do you, because dorm life is not easy. I mean, back when Matthew was in school, his dorm room was so small, he and his roommate could have stretched out their arms from either bed and touched fingers. I mean, they were that close together. And so, and that's, no matter how good of friends you are, living in such tight quarters is tough. So that's not for everyone. I mean, I have friends who actually even requested that their daughter have a private room, or that their student have that more of an apartment complex room where they can go off to their bedroom and be alone. And others just want the traditional experience where there are kids running up and down the hallway and it's busy and crazy and noisy and all that. So it really depends on, kind of your personality, what layout would work best for you. But regardless of where you decide to live, still the belongings that are being brought to colleges across the country is mind-boggling to me, because these kids are bringing everything, and that's just the way it is. And guess what? These dorms are now working with these kids and trying to make their dormitory life accommodating to today's generation. And I think they've done a good job in terms of being very flexible. Like, we're not only just talking bringing belongings, we're talking not only the essentials. You and I have kind of touched on the essentials, but we're talking decor and decorating. I mean, they are moving into a space that is going to become their second home for some months, 9, maybe, whatever.
Right.
And they are going, in some cases, they're going all out. And when I mean all out, some schools have interior designers on hand if you would like some help in decorating this is not we didn't do it. I'm not saying but there are college campuses out there that are known for, having those trendy kind of dorm rooms, put out there on social media, and they're pretty amazing. If you've not seen any images of them, they're pretty amazing.
It's a business. There are businesses that zero in on specifically decorating college dorms. All you have to do is give them the dimensions of the room, the height of the ceilings, the dimensions from side to side, how big the closet is, even take photos and send, and they will send you. It's like one of the HGTV love it or list it kind of things, where they take the space and everything and they show you what you can do in that space. And like, for instance, one of them, for a mere $600, you will get a 50-piece bed and bath set for your dormitory. And you also have your choice of 25 color combinations to pick it out, so that everything is color coordinated. And I might say that this is not just for girls. Yep, there's probably more color choices for girls than there are for the guys, but the guys can get a color coordinated room. And let's face it, on most college campuses, you usually go with a color scheme, the colors of the college. If it's Michigan, everything's going to be blue and gold. And if it's going to be Nebraska, it's all going to be red and white. So, and what, green and gold for
Baylor.
for Baylor.
Yeah.
So, But this includes in this thing. This is absolutely unbelievable. It gives you your flat sheets, your fitted sheets, the pillowcases, all that kind of good stuff. A fleece throw, a quilted mattress pad. Now that's to go on to the mattress they provide. You can also spend an extra $65 to get an extra memory foam pad to put on top of that. But it's got the washcloths and the towels that are all color coordinated. Even a hamper to put your dirty clothes in. Even comes with a tool kit and a first aid kit. Throw rugs. There's fans. A backrest pillow. You got to have that because you can't take your regular pillow and just put it up against the wall. You got to have one of these arm type backrests and all. But it's interesting. The list goes on and on and on, and and it comes with 8 hangers. Now, with all that other stuff that this package, it only gives you 8 hangers.
That's a joke.
I mean, but there are companies out there that will provide you and do a customized dorm room. I guess the older the college, probably the more primitive the room was, because they're still using the dorms in 50, 60, even 100-year-old colleges.
Right.
The new dorms that they're building, you now have newer amenities. Like I said, the computer hookups, the Wi-Fi, all that kind of good stuff.
Well, so, the list that you just named off really is really kind of some of just the basics, believe it or not. Yeah. I'm just saying, because the bedding and all of that. My kids are all pretty funny when it comes to their bedding. It just has to be very soft, whatever. So like, each one of them had, obviously the big thick pads on their beds, and the dorm beds are extra long. And so you have to get special bedding for dorm beds because they're extra long. Yeah,
XL twin.
Yep, exactly. And so, if you're going to get a mattress pad, which if there's anything I would recommend to anybody above anything else, it would be to get some kind of big, thick, because those beds are not, those mattresses in the dorms are not.
So they're just one step above the jail.
The jail, yeah, exactly. So and then the soft sheets, and then your blankets, and then your bedding, and all of that. But beyond that, and I know that every dormitory comes with a desk and a desk chair. We always replace that desk chair with a nice, comfy. With a nice comfy back and a padded,
an ergonomic chair.
It was just important because we knew that they'd be sitting there for periods of time, and we would want them to be comfortable. So, but to me, those are the basics. Those are the essentials. What has really become the trend is to decorate. I mean, and when I say decorate, I mean decorate to where it is like magazine picture ready. And also, if you have a roommate, not the layout that you and I were talking about so much, where they've got their own individual room, but if you are sharing a room, if it's a suite style where you have 2 roommates and they share a bathroom, or just a room of 2 or a room of 3, whatever the case is, if you're sharing a room, what they have to then do is coordinate all of their decor. So if your bedding is going to be pale pink, I might do a bedding of white. Okay, well then the third person might need to they can't do red, of course not, because we're into the pastel colors right now. So we're going to keep in line with our color scheme. Well, when you and I went to school, it would have been a lot more difficult to coordinate, because we could talk on the phone, long distance, but we can't see each other till we get there. But now, these kids all summer long, after they've picked their suite mates or their roommates, they're coordinating their bedding, their wall hangings, their headboards. Forget using the headboard. Forget using the headboard that comes with the dorm room. You're going to get your own headboard. You're going to put that in place of, and I'm talking pictures and lights that are strung over the ceiling and rugs that are put down on the floor. I've even seen, when I was moving my daughter into her first school, my middle one, we saw people bring, and I'm not kidding you, we saw people bringing on wagons into the dorm pieces of granite that had been cut to put on top of the, I don't know, laminate or whatever was on the sink in the bathroom. It was made to where it could just be placed on top. Yeah.
Upgraded countertop.
They were actually going as far as resurfacing some of the space or some of the, countertops and also there's a specific kind of wallpaper that you can put on walls that can be easily put on and easily peeled off again, so you're not damaging the wall or anything. But it can look like brick, it can look like wood, it can look like whatever, and you can do that on the walls. I mean, you can change the look of a dorm room now. From
make it look like a hotel room.
You can make it look like like a magazine, Architectural Digest kind of space.
And then you have to get the draperies that not only look good, but they also are thick enough to block out any ray of light that would even want to try and make it through the window, because you have to make that room as dark as possible at night in order to sleep. So you got 3 layers of window coverings plus Venetian blinds or to cover up the windows.
Yeah, exactly. My son, okay, so I had a son go through dorm life, and then I had 2 girls go through dorm life following him. So totally different experience. Matthew only cared about having a soft pillow and soft bedding.
Right.
And I think he may have hung, I don't know, what are those Texas flags on the wall? I don't even know. I think he did. I can't remember, but I just recall something being up on the wall just to, other than that, not much. The girls, they didn't go crazy, but they did want a comfortable, aesthetically pleasing, trendy looking space. And for me, I didn't let them go crazy, but I did let them, buy some things. And between them and their roommates, they were able to kind of put together a nice, warm, cozy space. And that was important to me because I wanted them to be happy and comfortable in their first year, at college. But I've seen some that are just really kind of like crazy, like over the top, but that's to each their own. But I think what I've heard too is like some of these kids get crazy in the beginning and they decorate their room with all kinds of stuff, and the bed is filled with stuff, and they've got little bean bags to step up on the bed, and they've got rugs and chairs and couches and lamps. And kind of after you're there for a month or so, you're just kind of moving that clutter away. And you're pretty much just kind of using the essentials and the basics anyway. In the beginning, the fluff is all fun. But then as you kind of just start getting busy into your college life, it's not as important. But it still makes for a cozy, comfortable living space. And that is important. I think in some cases people go over the top. And I think a lot of times they go over the top because in today's day and age, we have to post everything, right? So it has to be, you're not going to leave, as parents, you're not going to leave that dorm room until it's picture ready. So
right.
There's a little bit, there's a little bit of that, I think. Let's face it, everybody likes to post pictures, and there's a little bit of that. But I'm going to tell you, Stuart, when I went to college, like you said earlier in the show, parents pulled up to the curb. My parents love me. I'm not saying anything, but it wasn't so much like I just was like, bye. I had my suitcase, and I don't even think my suitcase was on wheels back then. I think I had to.
Right.
It was just different. Now the parents are getting a hotel room and staying for 3 days, and it's like, it's just different times.
And the student can't go into the room until mom and dad have made sure that it got decorated properly and everything was in place. I remember, and I do go back to the same thing as Matthew. I wanted to have a really good, comfortable pillow, and I wanted to make sure that the mattress was comfortable. So sometimes what we used to do is take extra blankets or something to put underneath the mattress to give it a little bit extra spring. The only other thing that I splurged on was I really wanted to have a good desk lamp, because usually they give you one of those little cans on a flexible arm, and that's your desk lamp. And sometimes it's really hard to see the material. So I wanted to have a nice fluorescent lamp, and that's what I splurged on for my dorm room.
You were such a studious young man.
Well, no, it was because I was blind without my glasses and I couldn't see anything. So I had to make sure I had enough light, because all you had was maybe a 100-watt bulb in the middle of the ceiling,
right,
to light the room.
So lighting is important for sure.
Yeah. So, but now you have to have ambient lighting. Maybe something that's got at least a 3-way bulb, so it can be low for just ambiance, but it's on bright when you're putting on your makeup or shaving or whatever. But also, today now you got to have a mini fridge, and you got to have a microwave in the room. My roommate in college, I had to have my lamp. He had to have a toaster. He loved to get up in the morning and have toast and jam. So we didn't have a refrigerator, so it was just a jar of jam that would sit up on his dresser. But in the morning, he would either put in a bagel or some toast and toast it, and of course the smell of that would permeate through the dorm, and everybody wanted to know who was having breakfast in their room.
Right.
But he couldn't start his day without his toast and jam.
I don't even know if we're allowed toast. I guess we are. Maybe in Emily's, because they have a kitchen, but I know they're very strict. We have microwave, of course, refrigerator and all that, but I don't believe, and a lot of times you have to use the college's refrigerator and stuff so that they know it's the right, whatever voltage, whatever. But definitely no hot plates, things like that. We're still not allowed. No candles. So my daughters, I'm a big candle person. So they, brought those candles now that are,
electric candles, that flicker, so it looks like it's a real candle.
Exactly. And that, but yeah, no, I mean, look, it's kind of like, it's just kind of like what, again, and it's not everybody, but if you are interested in looking at some unbelievably, incredibly decorated dorms, just Google images. They're all over. And, and it's fun, and I think it's great, and it makes the kids happy and whatever that first year. But another thing that I was thinking since my day that has evolved in a good way is the dining experience at dorms and in dorms. And all my kids loved the food at Baylor since
Matthew was there probably 6 years now ago when he started, and 7 maybe, I don't even know. But anyway, just more options, obviously healthier options, more dining open on campus, just so that it's spread out, so that if you're, at the business school, they've got Au Bon Pain in the business school there, and they've got, Chick-fil-A all over campus. And the whole, I never had that. I would go to my dorm, or I would go to a friend's apartment and have a sandwich with her or whatever. But now you just walk across campus, and the dining experience has evolved in a good way, I think, just to, I guess, better accommodate the needs of this generation.
You're right, but if you had a dorm, you usually had a meal plan, and it was either like breakfast and dinner, or breakfast and lunch, or you get like 2 meals a day, and you were on your own for the third meal. And you're right. Most of the dorm, when I went, the dorm food was really basic. You maybe had 2 choices of meat and 3 vegetables or something. Today, it's like going to a buffet when you go to any of the dorm dining rooms, at cafeterias. But you're right. A lot of the kids, even though they are on a meal plan, they opt for having a pizza delivered, or now you got Grubhub, place a phone call and it's delivered right to your dorm room. They make it real easy. Right. But it is a much changed experience. And of course, for the fast food franchises, they all want to be on college campuses,
of course,
because they know that it's going to be big money, at least for 9 months out of the year. Then the summer when all the students are gone, then you have to try and get by if you're own a franchise on a college town, unless it's in a big city.
Well, and then there's summer school. I mean, and they keep a lot of those places, especially the chain restaurants. They keep those. But we do the meal. We have always done the meal plans as well. But when, for example, Matthew would find himself in the business school for hours upon hours, he's just going to run down to the Au Pond and get a sandwich instead of, going back to the dorm. Although he loved his dorm, menu, whatever. We kind of found ourselves doing exactly what you just said. We paid for the meal plan, but then we had that a la carte situation going on too. So I don't think there's really any way around that unless you just are really strict with your kiddos. But, to me, I just think I actually just sold a lot of my bedding, my dorm bedding, because we are done. We were able to use the mattress pad because it was used very little by each one. If you think about it, it's only, what do I say, 8-9 months? How long is the school year at college?
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
And then we would roll it up, put it in the guest closet, and then roll it back out for the next one using it, and roll it back up. So it officially said its goodbyes. We said our goodbyes to it, and I put it on Facebook or Nextdoor that I had the twin extra long sheets, the twin extra long bedding, the twin extra long mattress pad, the thick pad, the comforter, what else did I think some pillows in there. I can't even remember. Oh, the headboard went right behind it. And I got a lot of responses because, if you can do it, if you can decorate your room in a fun, trendy way, but kind of watch your pennies, I would recommend that, because you're not going to use it for more than whatever, and that's that school year, and then you can save your pennies for when it really counts, like apartment where you're going to kind of keep those items more long term, and the house down, whatever. So anyway, I got a lot of responses and sold it all.
But and in my day, my roommate who used to have his bread and jam in the morning, he preferred to go to the library to study. Number one, because I think he was studying psychology or sociology, and he needed more reference books. But also, he got a girlfriend in the freshman year, and they used to meet and study at the library together. But the upside to it was that left me to have the dorm room by myself. So if I wanted to even turn on the radio and listen to a little bit of music while I was studying, I could do it without interfering with my roommate. So there were always some little upsides to that. Then, of course, by the time you go into your sophomore year or so, you usually joined a fraternity or a sorority, and then you lived in the fraternity or sorority house. And then it was maybe a little different setup. You had a room where you kept all your stuff, but maybe you'd sleep in your room, but they also had a common dorm room in the fraternity houses. Now, your daughters were ZTA, weren't they?
Yeah, Zetas, both of them. Yep.
And in my day, we didn't have meal plans in college. In the dorm, they did, but then when we got into the fraternity house, you had to pay for the meal plan. And my parents paid for my tuition and books and all that, but they said you might have to work to get your meals. So I was a houseboy over at the Zeta Tau Alpha sorority house on campus. And so I got all my meals at the sorority house.
Oh, I'd love to hear those stories.
Oh, there were some great stories. But I mean, I remember even back then, it was almost like a competition among the girls in the sorority house at decorating their rooms, because a lot of them like to decorate their rooms with their favorite, bands. If you were into certain groups and everything, then you had the posters and all the decor was for the Beatles or the Rolling Stones or whoever was the big band of that era. Sometimes it was as simple as just the college colors, but also having been the houseboy, there are lots of the the girls would maintain their rooms, and there were others that it could have been a boys' dormitory room because it was a total mess. And you knew that if their parents saw a photo of that room, they would say, wait a minute, we fixed up that room so nicely for you at the beginning of the year, and it's a trash dump now.
Yeah.
So, and that depended on your roommate too. Sometimes your roommate would walk in and just throw their socks on the floor, and others would put them in a little hamper or a laundry bag.
Well, that touches on another aspect of dorm living is, roommate relationships. I mean, I've heard some horror stories. I've heard some real great stories, but back in our day, a lot of times you'd get there, and if you went potluck, and you got what you got. And
yeah, you would meet your dorm mate on the first day of school,
right. And you it either worked or it didn't. But or maybe you went to school with a buddy and you roomed with that buddy. But now it doesn't matter if you're coming from California or New York, and you end up here at a school in Texas. You're able to get to know each other all summer long
on social media.
So it's just so different now. Very seldom are kids having to just land in a room with a perfect stranger, unless you do it last minute and it just happens that way. But in most cases, that's very nice for these kids, is that they're able to, even kind of find matches ahead of time on social media, like who's going to Ole Miss. It's all out there, and you start to kind of look around and, I whatever. And you kind of get to know each other. And if you feel like you match up, then you put in a request to be roommates together or whatever. So that's actually another aspect of dorm living that has evolved nicely because of, social media. These kids are kind of, and they not only can get together on how to decorate their room, but get together just what are your interests? What do you like to do? Oh, great. Then let's join that club together or whatever.
Well, and also so you both wouldn't show up with a microwave. Say, okay, you bring the microwave and I've got a small flat screen TV. Okay, fine. We'll get together and do that. Having been from the Midwest, if you were going to go away to college and you were going to room with a high school friend, that was fine. But if you weren't and you were open, you usually wanted to get a roommate that either was from Florida or from Arizona or Southern California or something, because that way in a winter time when you wanted to get away for semester break or something, if your roommate was from Florida, I'm going to my roommates.
Right.
So sometimes there was some little planning going on there.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure still today.
Yeah, I think it is. But it's very, very interesting how some things have changed, but a lot of them remain the same. I think for the most part, I think when you go into college and you're going to live in a dorm, you have just certain basics that you're going to get in the dorm room. What you do beyond that is up to you. And if you're going to hire an interior designer to come into your, 8x12 dorm room that you're sharing, go for it. You want to paint the ceiling, you want to put in a ceiling fan with lights, and that, some schools will let you do that. Others will say, can't do that. But then everybody can't wait until their sophomore year, or in my case, you couldn't move off campus until your senior year.
Oh, wow.
Unless you were, I hate to use the word hardship case, but you had to work and you had to go off campus in order to work, that they would allow you to live in an apartment in town. But that was in your junior year. Otherwise, only senior year could you move off campus.
Oh,
you had to be in a fraternity or you had to be in a dorm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey, it is what it is. The important thing is we've talked for 45 minutes about dorm life. And the one thing we never really said was the main reason we send our kids away to college is for an education.
Yeah.
So, that still should be the first priority. And what the dorm room is and what the bed is that they sleep in at night, that should be a little bit further down on the priority list.
It should be, but You know how we are today.
Tell that to your student and tell that to your student's parents.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, it's very well. And again, make your students' living space comfortable and cozy and whatever, but try to keep it in perspective a little bit. You know.
And the other thing to do is to make sure that you come back again here next week and see what we're going to be talking about. Maybe we'll have a guest, maybe we won't. We'll decide in between now and next Wednesday. But go out, make it a good day. You two get your sophomore ready to go back off to school.
Yep. I'm ready. We're doing a little shopping today. Trust me.
There you go. Got to do it. All right. Make it a good one. Come back and catch us again next week. Same time. Bye.
Bye.